South Africa is no stranger to scandal. Yet in recent weeks, a new one has blown up, a one that is poised to bring down not just the presidency, but the whole African National Congress, ANC. It started as rumors of a suspicious dollar cash squirreled away in a luxury hotel. Now it has mushroomed into a full-scale political crisis. At the eye of the storm is President Sir Ramaphosa, a man who was once touted as the ANC's great reformer and the country's savior when it came to transparency. This is not another political news headline or the typical exchange of party politics. This is dollar drama, and it will potentially alter the trajectory of South African political history once and for all. The scandal hit the public eye when investigative journalists broke news that significant amounts of unreported US dollars, purportedly over $500,000, were discovered hidden in a luxury hotel room associated with President Ramaphosa. Based on several sources, the money was concealed in furniture, hidden under pillow covers, and even placed behind the paneling of walls. The revelation raised serious issues regarding legality, corruption, and potential cover-up at the top echelons of government. Ramaphosa at first attempted to minimize the find, calling it exaggerated hearsay. But mounting public and media pressure compelled the presidency to issue a short statement asserting the money was part of a private commercial transaction and had nothing to do with matters of state. But critics weren't so sure. Why? They asked, should the head of a country be party to a foreign currency transaction kept secret in a hotel room away from financial authorities and official eyes? For many, the excuse only fueled the suspicion and the growing sense that here was more than just a case of simple misunderstanding. It smelled to many an observer like the old familiar whiff of corruption once again coursing through the corridors of power. As the journalists and investigators researched further, the story grew yet more opaque. Leaked files suggested that there may have been contact between top officials of the ANC leadership and hotel employees. Eyewitnesses reported seeing top government officials visiting the hotel at suspicious hours, reportedly in connection with the shifting dollar cash. Those facts, if corroborated, indicated that the issue ran far deeper than the president himself. It suggested a web of complicity. The ramifications are staggering. The ANC has governed South Africa for almost 30 years, establishing itself as the party of democracy and liberation. Were these allegations to be proven, they would imply not only was one individual involved in a secretive cash deal, but possibly the party apparatus itself. ANC spokespeople responded with carefully crafted releases, claiming that the party was not hiding anything and steadfastly defending their leader. But their calls for unity sounded artificial and desperate to many South Africans, a planned attempt to defend the party's reputation and not seek out the truth. This is not the first time South Africans have been asked to trust ANC leadership in the midst of a scandal. To understand why this moment feels so explosive, one has to look at the party's recent history. The Zimmer state capture scandal, the Gupta's alleged influence over government decisions and widespread corruption charges in provincial administrations have already eroded public confidence. Just when most thought that Ramaphosa would usher in a new age of openness and reform, the dollar drama has revived old suspicions that old habits of secrecy and self-dealing are thriving. Even Ramaphosa's most ardent supporters are currently gripped by a crisis of faith. Was the president really in the dark about how the dollars wound up in that hotel room? Or does this indicate that even the so-called reformers in the ANC are not above the same corrupt behaviors that have tainted their predecessors? Opposition parties have predictably wasted no time pouncing on the opportunity. Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, member Julius Malema demanded Ramaphosa's resignation forthwith, mockingly terming him a presidential crook in designer suits. The Democratic Alliance has insisted on a parliamentary probe in full, and its leader John Steinhuisen accused the ANC of systematic dishonesty and the abuse of state machinery to advance their personal interests. These protests have intensified the pressure, making what could have otherwise been a managed political scandal a possible existential threat to the ANC. Civil society has also entered the battlefield. Advocacy groups, watchdogs, and ordinary people have mobilized public demonstrations and protests in major metropolitan areas such as Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. Thousands are in the streets brandishing placards inscribed with "No one is above the law" and "Clean up our government," swearing they will not let the scandal be swept under the carpet quietly. The question now is whether Ramaphosa will survive the storm. Although he still enjoys loyalty in some ANC factions, the party is seriously broken. Behind the scenes, insiders murmur that the knives are out and 2025 could be the year that remakes the ANC's entire power balance. Some factions fear that it would destabilize the party even more to lose Ramaphosa, while others worry that holding on to him will bring the ANC crashing down altogether. Probes are currently underway, but the heat keeps on piling up. Independent monitors, foreign observers, and investigative reporters are poring over documents and tracking down tips. Parliament is getting ready to vote on whether to create a special investigating committee to investigate the scandal formally. That could lead to subpoenas, sworn testimony, and potentially explosive disclosures for the ANC leadership. Meanwhile, President Ramaphosa continues to claim innocence. He has insisted that he has not done anything wrong and that the alleged money involved had something to do with legitimate private transactions. But in politics, a perception can hurt as much as evidence. The longer it takes for a clear and open explanation to come out, the more public confidence is eroded. The dollar drama is only just beginning. It has already undermined confidence in the ANC and has potential to be the biggest political reckoning South Africa has experienced in years. The scandal has emboldened opposition forces, revived citizen activism, and exposed deep fault lines within the governing party. Regardless of whether Ramaphosa survives the turmoil or not, the damage done to the ANC's reputation may be too severe to repair. The world is observing as South Africans wrestle with the consequences. Investors are holding back. Analysts are wondering if there will be changes in who wields power, and voters are wondering if the party of Mandela still speaks to their values. For a country that has struggled for its democracy, the stakes do not get any higher. Thanks for coming along on this deep dive into the dollar drama rocking South Africa's politics. What do you think? Is Ramaphosa at fault, or is this a cynical ploy to derail his leadership? Can the ANC clean house, or is this the beginning of the end of the ruling party's hold on power? Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay engaged, because South Africa's political future might be rewriting itself right before our eyes.